Hello everyone, today I am very excited to talk about the latest version of The Color Purple, directed by Blitz Bazawule, starring Fantasia, Barrino, Taraji P. Henson, Danielle Brooks, Colman Domingo, Corey Hawkins, H.E.R, and Halle Bailey. Of course, this is the second telling of the 1982 Alice Walker perennial novel of the same title, and of course, the Steven Spielberg adaptation from 1985 remained the only adaptation of the story on film up until this point. And of course, this was obviously adapted into a musical for Broadway, I think in the early 2000s, and this is something that I was very excited about because I'll be honest with you guys, the original Color Purple from Steven Spielberg is, I think, one of his absolute best films. Definitely top 10 Spielberg films, if not number 10. And I think what he brought to that story as someone who's quite clearly an outsider feels so genuine to the characters in the story and the emotions and complexities going on in this novel by Alice Walker, and is captured so beautifully by Spielberg. And everyone knows that Spielberg is one of the greatest directors of all time. And obviously he's producing this film. Oprah Winfrey came on, who played Sophia in the original film, and Quincy Jones, who did the music for the original one. All absolute legends in their own right. And the fact that they were, teaming together to put this production on, I think, was really a good sign that we were in good hands. And of course, Blitz Bazawule, who has done a lot of stuff in the music realm, especially with Beyonce and Black is King, which I've not seen, but I'm assuming, based on, something like Renaissance and what I have seen from Beyonce, that it was pretty damn good. And I certainly feel like his visual style as a director translates over here with a lot of sweeping musical numbers, a lot of great usage of shadows and sort of like internalized emotions being portrayed cinematically on screen and perhaps ways that you wouldn't expect. And I absolutely love that about this film. I'm not saying it's the absolute best directed film of the year, but it's certainly one that has a lot of vision and style to it, and for that I give it a lot of points. But look, I obviously have to compare it to the Steven Spielberg original. You'd be remiss not to. It's just one of those things that happens to come up and you have to talk about it. And what I will say about this adaptation, right off the bat, I think the first 45 minutes to an hour are completely rushed. I feel like it leaves out a lot of, natural character growth, and it just feels a bit choppy in some regards in the way they jump between time and all of that. But what I will say, and this is the reason why I'm so conflicted on this movie, quite frankly, the last hour of this film made me feel unlike any other movie this entire year. Just emotionally speaking, it reaches heights that the Steven Spielberg one can't even come close to. And this is why I'm very conflicted, because which one do I like better? Because by all means, Spielberg's version is a more well-executed and put-together film, but it doesn't quite give me that emotional heft that this one does, and a story that's so gripping and creative in ways that perhaps the Spielberg one isn't. I don't know. I really have to watch the Spielberg one again. And I was also struggling because some movies I want to put it above are also from this year. I mean, I would rank above the Steven Spielberg The Color Purple. So I really have to check out that movie again to really give myself some peace of mind, as well as this one. But I think it goes without saying, the fact that I cried 3 times watching this movie should tell you that I did absolutely love this film, all qualms aside. It is obviously a movie that is quite flawed in quite a few ways, and somehow manages to overcome that and become this incredibly gripping and stirring adaptation of the story, done with some musical numbers. Now, another thing I will say, musically speaking, as a musical, I feel like some of the musical numbers are really, really great and add a lot to the story, but some of them kind of feel like non sequiturs. Not that they are, but they just don't really add much to the story, which is okay, I guess, because yet again, they do focus on the drama a lot, which I'm completely okay with. That's what, I'm absorbed into the story with. But it is one of those things where sometimes the musical elements of this film kind of take a backseat to the drama. As I said, it's fine, but certainly wish there could have been more of a balance. But yet again, I think they really nail it home in the end above all else. And I think that's what makes this movie work. But let's talk about the cast, because the cast here is what really makes or breaks this film. And obviously, considering that I loved it, it should be a sign that this is one of the best ensemble casts of the entire year. You got so many big names in this, and a lot of people that have been blowing up, and rightfully so. Corey Hawkins, yet again another musical actor in The Heights, who plays Harpo, the son of Mr., who is Celi's abusive husband. And he's really great, as always. He always delivers. And of course, Taraji P. Henson is in this as Shug Avery. And a lot of people were predicting she was going to get an Oscar nomination this time around for this adaptation, since Margaret Avery did for the original portrayal of Shug. And I have to say, I don't think that's quite the case, but she is still really, really good in the film, and she brings this sex appeal and charisma that just is so effective, and the way that how everybody else kind of like works off of that, and how they, perceive her is truly quite brilliant. I absolutely think she plays one of the most vital roles in this film. And on that note, I absolutely love Shug's relationship with Celi in this film, and I feel like they take it a step further than they do in the original 1985 film. It has much more queer overtones to it, and I really appreciated that they took it that far, because I think Shug is such an important part in Celi discovering who she truly is and her story. So I was really, really glad to see that they put that in this adaptation. Of course, Colman Domingo. I gotta talk about my man Colman Domingo again, because as amazing as he is in Rustin, which I still believe is the best lead male performance of the year, I hope he gets nominated for the Oscar. I think he's Oscar worthy in this too as Mr. And it's a very, very different portrayal than Danny Glover's. There's a lot more levity with his portrayal of Mr. He's more charming like. But yet again, he is absolutely terrifying in the worst ways, considering how abusive of a person that he is. But you see the journey his character goes on in this film, and I find it to be even more believable and emotionally gripping than the one Danny Glover goes on in the original film, who I do think should have been nominated for The Color Purple. And that certainly is no exception for Colman Domingo. He could get double nominated this year. The chances of that happening are really low, because I feel like the Academy is going to inexplicably snub him for Rustin. But I think it just goes to show you how deep the pool is with supporting actor, and I've always loved Colman Domingo and everything, but this year truly has put him over the top for me, for one of my favorite actors working in the industry today. And of course, you have to talk about Danielle Brooks as Sophia. Stepping into the shoes of Oprah in this film is not an easy feat to do at all, and I believe Oprah actually handpicked Danielle Brooks herself for the musical, because she was nominated for a Tony, I believe, for this, and maybe it was the revival, I'm not sure, probably the revival. And I mean, look, you all know I love Divine Joy Randolph in The Holdovers, and that's like one of my favorite movies of the year for sure. But if there's any justice in the world, I think Danielle Brooks should win the Oscar. I mean, she literally explodes off the screen, and it is just an unmistakable turn, one that you cannot take your eyes off of every single second. She dominates every single moment she has on screen, and she brings Sophia to these emotional heights that really moved me to tears, quite honestly. I think that this is easily the best supporting turn of the entire year, and Of course, I mean, Divine Joy Randolph's been winning a lot, but I think Danielle Brooks is so good in this movie. I wouldn't quite say it's quite locked up yet. And I think if there's one nomination this film will get for sure, it is her in supporting actress. Absolutely fucking astounding, the work she does in this film. And of course, that also goes for Fantasia Barrino as Celie. It's really great to see an American Idol be in something so successful, an American Idol winner, in fact, because a lot of people on that show, quite a few have, but not everyone who has won that show has gone on to great success. And here you see Fantasia, I think, on the cusp of an Oscar nomination, because her portrayal of Celie, even though I do prefer Whoopi Goldberg's portrayal of Celie in the original film, she is a woman who is so completely defeated and submissive because of the relationship that she is in. But as you see her grow throughout this film, Fantasia brings so much emotion and believability to an arc for this character who truly just evolves in the most beautiful and heartwarming ways that I could possibly think of. And I think they go even further with Celie in this film and take her story to lengths that I have not seen it portrayed yet. And I absolutely love what Fantasia does, because it's all very subdued work for a good amount of time. And just when those emotions rise to the surface, it is just felt more than anything in this movie. And of course, I mean, we all know she's an amazing, amazing singer. And there's one number, well, actually a couple numbers near the end that just brought me to tears. Just Fantasia alone did that. And I think that, yet again, if there's any justice in the world, she should get that 5th Best Actress nomination this upcoming Academy Awards. I really think she deserves it more than anyone who's on the cusp right now to get into that top 5. And yeah, I'm really hoping that this is, you know, the success story that comes full circle. I'm really happy to see, once again, American Idol get this type of love and to see this type of success in their careers, because that's what it's all about, right? And I absolutely love her in this film. And yet again, all the acting from top to bottom, I think, is absolutely phenomenal. Halle Bailey is really good in the scenes she in. Of course, she's only near the beginning of this film, if you do know the story of Color Purple, but just the relationship that she has to Celie is so integral to this story, and understanding exactly what drives her and what keeps her faith in humanity after all this time and all the horrible things that were done to her. And there's a lot of great cameo roles, which I will not spoil, or smaller roles. You can look it up if you want to, but I was really blown away by the cast that was in this film. Some absolute acting legends show up, and some other really, cool and interesting people who are in the acting sphere, music sphere, otherwise. And that's why I have to mention her, because in this story, I feel like she's kind of relegated to the background. I don't think they really give her a lot to do, and that's a bit unfortunate, but yet again, it's one of those things where there's certain character elements that aren't as fleshed out in this one. There's some that are more so, like the relationship between Harpo and Sophia, I think, is even better than how it was portrayed in the original Spielberg film. But there's some gaps that are missing, I think, for some characters in the story to feel as complete as it could. But yet again, this is such an epic story. I mean that in the most truest sense of the word. This is a 2-hour and 20-minute film, and it really does fly by, I think, even if, some of the first half could have used a little bit more connective tissue, because I think, yet again, how this movie comes together by the end is truly phenomenal and absolutely an emotionally rewarding experience more than any other film this year. And the music is really great overall. I'm not saying I loved every single one of the songs, but there's certainly some standouts, like I'm Here, yet again, one of the last numbers by Fantasia. And of course, the Color Purple is an amazing song. And I love what they do with Miss Celie's blues in this. Sister, which is a great part of the 1985 film, and one of my favorite moments, if I'm going to be entirely honest. I just think from top to bottom, this is such a well-executed film despite its flaws that are apparent in some regard. I have to see this again. I think, you know, I need some peace of mind with this, because in my heart, I think this is one of my favorite films of the year, if I'm being entirely honest. And I think that alone, even though I'm not quite sure where to rank it amongst my favorites of the year yet, I'm definitely going to give this adaptation of The Color Purple a 9 out of 10. Absolutely loved this film. You all should absolutely check it out. If there's one film that came out over Christmas that is a must-see, it's absolutely The Color Purple. So yeah, guys, let me know down in the comments what you thought about this adaptation of The Color Purple. Did you love it? Did you like it more than the Spielberg original? Or did you like it about the same? Or did you like it less? Just let me know down in the comments below. Would love to have a conversation with y'all about it. And of course, smash the like button, subscribe to the channel if you're coming here for the first time. Going to be a lot more great movie reviews coming soon. I do plan on reviewing Ferrari before the end of the year, so hopefully I get that up right before the New Year's, but rest assured we will be talking about that and so much more in the coming weeks. So yeah, guys, until then, take it easy, and I'll talk to you soon.
Like a